Chapter 21. The donut shop was warm and bright after the gray rain. Eleanor wheeled her stroller up to the counter. She ordered hot chocolate for Cass and Deegan and a tea for herself. She bought everyone a donut. Then they all moved to a table in the corner. A few minutes later, after sipping some hot chocolate, Deegan asked, "Can I?" He gestured to the stroller. Inside, nestled next to baby Rose, was the sketchbook. Eleanor had insisted on putting it there to keep it dry. He reached in and gently removed it. Eleanor smoothed the blanket around Rose and ran a finger along her cheek. Rose smiled and gurgled, but then she began to wiggle as her mom took her hand away. After a minute, the little face scrunched together and she opened her tiny mouth to emit a loud, scratchy squawk. "Shh," said Eleanor. "She's hungry." She rummaged in a large bag through diapers and toys. She pulled out a bottle, placed it on the table. Then she lifted out Rose and expertly cradled her in one arm while inserting the bottle into the baby's mouth with the other hand. She rocked her back and forth, and Rose settled into it. "Want me to draw her like that? You holding her? The bottle?" Deegan looked intent, confident. Like everything was in harmony at that moment. Cass suddenly thought of the sketch he had made of the man at the top of the cliff. In this minute, if Deegan was that man, he might just stay there, neither jump nor fall, just be part of everything, completely himself. It was as if the life force, like the Orenda, was following through him. If only Mom could feel that way, or me. "That sounds nice," said Eleanor. So Cash watched as the mother fed her baby, and Deegan's hand meandered around the page in front of him, his eyes flickering up and down. Eleanor smiled and tried to hold still. Rose snuggled close. They were in harmony too. Then growing out of that ordinary donut shop, out of the cement and wood and even plastic around her, she could feel the song of the mask rising. It was like in her dream, when everything felt alive. They knew Cass, they knew Deegan, Eleanor, and Rose. They were surrounding them with warmth and light and wisdom, even in the midst of a rainy afternoon with people coming and going in muddy boots. Was that the Orenda too? Was it everywhere? Did you just have to know how to look and listen? Eleanor was smiling at Deegan, smiling at Rose. She is happy, Cass thought, and her happiness had spread like ripples to Deegan, because he was happy too, as he sketched. Could harmony inside a person flow to other people around you? How did you get that harmony? Were you born with it? Could you learn it? Was it easier if your life wasn't made up of bills and the food bank and trying to find work when you hadn't finished high school? The music inside Cass altered slightly, as if it was a river that had hit a narrow channel, where rocks caused it to gnarl and churn as it went. It was the same river, only it took the shape and character of what was around and under it. It was tortured and wild because the rough river bed had forced it to be that way, kind of like Mom. Mom who worked hard, Mom who hated help, Mom who loved Cass beyond anything, just like this lady loved her baby. Mom had the same Orenda inside her as Eleanor did. It just looked different. It wasn't flowing calmly because it hadn't had a chance yet, but it was a life force all the same, and maybe Mom could learn to channel it for good things, just as Cass was going to learn to do. When Deegan had finished, Eleanor drew in her breath sharply. "You captured us. It is perfect." "Thanks," Deegan said shyly. Eleanor placed Rose, who was now asleep, back into the stroller and tucked the blanket around her. Then she pulled out her wallet and removed some bills. $35, just as we agreed. She slid a card toward Deegan. "I teach art history at the university. You are a very talented young man. I can probably help you if you're interested." Deegan's eyes widened. "Think about it," said Eleanor. To Cass she added, "And at the very least, I would love an opportunity to see the mask of yours sometime. Once you get it back, if it's authentic, it is very significant and special." Cass nodded shyly. "Thank you." Then minutes later, they were dashing through the rain. Deegan's sketchbook zipped up inside his coat, and it was as if Eleanor had almost been a strange dream. The right person coming along just when she was most needed. She was a weird coincidence. Though Cass was starting to wonder if the ordinary world was pretend, and if the real world, the real way things were, was full of coincidence like Eleanor. The man was turning the open sign to closed when they arrived at the pawn shop. "Please," said Cass out of breath, "can't we please come in? We have money." She pulled the crumpled bills from her pocket. "And we know just what we want to buy." The man sighed and looked at his watch. 1 minute. "Thank you," they said. They raced inside and along to the further side of the wall, then stopped dead. Where the mask had hung, there is now an empty space. Where is it? Cass said loudly. To nobody in particular, she looked around helplessly as if the mask might possibly have chosen to move to another place. The man came down, drawn by her voice. What are you looking for? The mask. The mask. It was hanging here just yesterday. It was $30, don't you remember? Her voice was rising and her hands were shaking. Relax, said the man. I'm sorry, but it got sold. Pretty popular mask, I've got to say. Sold? Cass said blankly. Deegan had been standing quietly, but now he asked, do you know who bought it? The man shrugged. A kid, kind of tall, reddish hair, big kid, about your age.